I'll tell you about Crackle first and where it fits into the overall sort of landscape. We have really leveraged Crackle as a destination for full-length movies that have been in some of their other channels. So they've already been through some of the original channels that we had set up in the life cycle of a movie. So you get your theatrical, and then you go through your home entertainment, your pay-per-view, you'll see it on the airline, you'll see it internationally, you'll get it on Netflix, all the other places that you would suspect. So now, rather than continually to put it through all the cable channels and all the other last places, if it's a non-exclusive distribution deal, we'll be able to put those on Crackle free to the consumer. There's no requirement to watch full-length movies, several full-length episodes and seasons of television shows that we've produced, as well as originals. And so it's really been a great platform for us to allow directors, producers, actors to put a pet project out there, whether it's short form or innovative, and this would be a good channel for it. So people have grown accustomed to our user base, accustomed to getting recognizable movies, recognizable television shows, and originals that are a little bit more cutting edge, experimental, innovative, but still very high quality. In addition to Crackle being just a .com, free to the consumer, as I mentioned, totally ad supported, no subscription fee required, we've created a network where we have real estate in many of the places that people go to watch full-length video, YouTube being one of them. Hulu, we distribute movies there and television shows and some originals. Verizon Fios. So aside from that platform of distribution, we've got some more innovative places. Some of the appliances that Sony creates, whether it's connected Blu-ray players, Bravias that have an internet interface, Verizon Fios. The PlayStation 3 is the most obvious, where you have a Crackle interface there that's formatted specifically for a television experience. The Google TV app, which is a similar browser experience. So you've got a television, a full-length experience on a sit-back sort of format, and it's what we call the 10-foot experience. And those are all fully ad-supported, free to the consumer again. So Crackle is a place, in addition to the PlayStation interface, where we're getting our content, whether it's short form, long form, library, new, into a place where people are expecting good quality content. And the apps for iPhone, iPad, they launch free to the consumer, all the content available on Crackle in a streaming app onto those appliances in April.
Okay.
We have an ad sales team, a typical online ad sales team, but we have to be a little bit more nimble with the PlayStation Network and our ad sales efforts there. Dr. Oz and his site, that's an association with the television show. FearNet, which is the only linear VOD and online offering for that genre, which is entertainment. And then aside from that, just working with partners across all the platforms that we have at Sony, utilizing Crackle, that network, the PlayStation Network, some of these other sites, to come up with solutions as opposed to the standard media sell. But they are all the ones I've mentioned are free to the consumer. Really just the PlayStation requires either a PlayStation 3 or a PSP to access. My whole career has been in the ad industry and in ad sales, and it's an interesting sort of time to see all the technology, all of the social networks. These are all very recent when you talk about the whole ad sort of landscape. So our biggest challenge is there are ad networks out there offering at very low price, a lot of scale, some unpredictability, but we are a premium publisher. Sony's always been a premium publisher. Our whole brand value is, and our value proposition is, we'll give you the best product possible. Whether it's a movie, an appliance, a gaming experience, music, you name it. And when the ad industry, especially ad agencies, are looking for a reach play that isn't resource intensive, that fits into their business model, it's a huge threat to the premium publishers. And there's also a question of the online behavioral targeting. And when someone is looking for an entertainment experience, it's a little bit different than when they're looking for a travel experience, or they're looking for a Yellow Pages type experience, or even when they're looking at a gaming experience. The entertainment seems to be a little bit different, and we don't typically target just based on behavior, unless, in the case of PlayStation, we've been given that information as a subscriber. So now you've got a closed network where we can go ahead and customize that experience based on information that the user is giving us. So those are...
Give me some examples of how you slice the users up on the PlayStation.
Sure. Well, we know ages, and we know gender, we know geography, and we know purchase history. So if someone
this guy bought a lot of war games.
And sure, anytime anybody is opting in to continue to download stuff in the background, episodes of a series that they've already bought, then they'll go ahead and buy future episodes. There's things that we can do that are behavioral, are preferential, and there's just, there's a relationship there. It's very similar to any other closed network where there's a give and take, and we're going to help customize and improve your experience based on that. But in the ad landscape, we've been hesitant to go ahead and target based on behavioral, simply because we don't want users to think there isn't a full option out there. But there's also just, Sony wants to respect the user based on, this is a free ad-supported experience with regard to Crackle. Yeah, customizing the ad experience based on history or behavior is something that we're not fully immersed in yet. But what we do is we have a good grasp on who's watching what, genre-based, content-based, other sort of behavior or preferences that a user might give us. So that's one area where agencies are looking for interactive to really deliver on that promise, which is almost as granular and, in some cases, historical information about each individual user. And that's the big debate that we have up in front of us for this year, next year probably. We definitely have an ad network play for a couple different reasons. The first is we don't sell everything that we have just to premium. We would like to, but there's always going to be, based on frequency capping, the number of advertisers that we have, total impressions. There's always going to be a few impressions that are left out there, so it's always nice to have either a house ad or an ad network that can fill that up. Obviously the goal is to fill all of your own inventory, but when we look at advertisers that are not deploying dollars to publishers directly, for example, there was a recent campaign by a soft drink company.
Which one would that be?
I haven't seen it in a while. That needed an enormous amount of impressions into the marketplace quickly, and that's not an advertiser that we would necessarily get direct access to for our value proposition. But we saw an enormous presence just based on our ad network relationships. And that's what I mean by the business model that agencies have set up, is if they need reach and they need a demo, well then they're used to not having to deploy a team of people to execute a campaign. And that's where an ad network fits in. Now, I don't think that any big publisher can go without an ad network unless they're canvassing everybody out there. So it's, I think it's a good mix to have. There are advertisers that are in video that can't do direct deals. They just don't have the resources to do them.
Yeah.
So
I assume because you're video heavy that you're using video ad networks like Tremor and Tumo. Like, who are you using?
You know what, the easiest way for us to do it was with an aggregator, more of a technology play that just had an auction, more of an auction interface, so we didn't have to deal directly with each individual ad network.
So who's that company?
I'd rather not say, unfortunately. Only because there's some proprietary things, and occasionally we'll go to others for each site specifically. I love the Hulu angle, and we try to model a lot of what we do after Hulu because the user interface there is really good. I love the option to choose an ad, and it's something that we'll probably deploy eventually. We don't have it live yet, but I think what you're going to start seeing more of, so the 15 and the 30 and a little more of the sit-back experience. When you're watching a 2-hour movie, like a Da Vinci Code is up there now, and Ghost Rider, some of the titles are compelling enough to sit through in their entirety. You know, you're probably not going to interact as much. So you have a sit-back interface where you're going to watch it. It's more similar to television, and so you know, you're really going to want something that's visually compelling as opposed to beckoning your interaction. So in that case, it's really standard television ads, but I love the option to be able to choose based on your preference. The other option to watch an ad at the top or a trailer and then watch the content uninterrupted is another, really a format option, I think, as opposed to you know, the execution itself. But rich media and expandables and, you know, in banner, I think that they're all there. You know, it could be more my demographic, where I don't like the intrusive, you know, anything that's really requiring you to interact as opposed to make the choice yourself. Sony is an interesting sort of mix of all of the above. With our originals, we'll have the option of branded entertainment, pitching treatments. We've got, at any given time, we have a number of producers in LA who are interested in hearing about brands that are interested in their treatment, or they've got something that we can activate. So it ranges from simple product integration into originals, all the way to, and speaking strictly about Crackle, to an add-on or other downloadable content that contributes to a gaming experience on PlayStation, to in-program on Dr. Oz, where he's demonstrating something and then throwing it to the website for a giveaway, which is either a giveaway or a watch and win type format. We do a number of these integrations into the Nate Berkus show. I think really where you're going is how do you get a brand that wants to go directly with a publisher some elevation that they weren't going to get just by running standard media.
Yeah, and which theoretically allows you to charge a higher premium because it's a deeper relationship,
sure,
and connection with the fans.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And so, you know, there's a number of things we can do content-wise, whether it's collections or stunts or themes. You know, we've certainly done a number of giveaways where we'll bring somebody in for a red carpet event for an upcoming theatrical release. We can certainly do advanced screenings of those releases in someone's hometown with a theater relationship. If it's New York or LA, we can host a screening for a lucky winner type of thing, where the brand is associated not only with the contest or the sweepstakes, but also with that real-world execution. You know, so in terms of integration into our site, there's plenty of things. I mean, the launch of new programming, a new movie initiative, which is something we did with an automotive, where we launched a new movie every day, and the automotive presented the whole thing, and then they gave away a movie a week on the PlayStation Network. So you're part of a movie stunt there. You may not be integrated from a brand perspective in places that you wouldn't expect, but you're bringing additional value to the consumer. So what we try to do is leverage every asset we have at Sony, whether it's you know, a show endorsement like Dr. Oz, a program or game giveaway on the PlayStation Network where you're enhancing that experience, or elevating a brand within a program that we create around those brands' priorities. So there's a lot of things that we can do. It was a huge initiative, and Sony has a good working relationship with Facebook. I think that the movie definitely put our relationship at the forefront, because the movie wasn't done in collaboration with Facebook. And I think that it was really more of a, look, we were one of the first studios to really leverage Facebook. Sony Pictures is one of the most innovative and really comprehensive marketers, especially in the theatrical space, across not only the social network, social fabric, but all of these innovative interactive platforms. And that's Dwight Keynes' group. But the number of things that we did just on Facebook, but also in other places where social integration is really rules the day, was enormous. There was, you couldn't avoid knowing about the social network if you are on social networks. So I wouldn't want to get into one because I think it would be at the, you know, I wouldn't want one to focus as opposed to all of the others. It was astounding. And I think that organic marketing platform led to the success it had at the box office. Not sure how it contributed to the critical success, but the movie sort of speaks for itself.